Human history, as we've been taught, might just be a fragmented tale stitched together with more guesswork than fact. For thousands of years, cultures around the world have described gods descending from the skies, beings with advanced knowledge who shaped humanity itself. But what if those stories weren't myths? What if they were distorted memories of actual encounters? Encounters with beings not of this earth. The ancient Sumerians, one of the earliest civilizations known to man, didn't just invent writing and urban living. They left behind mysterious records describing powerful entities called the Anunnaki. These weren't vague deities representing natural forces. They were described with precision, beings with names, rivalries, and a mission. According to the text, they came from the heavens, shaped humans for labor, and ruled the earth with divine authority. If we take these records seriously, we are faced with a troubling question. Were humans created by extraterrestrial visitors, not by divine will or blind evolution? This idea isn't new, but mainstream history avoids it like a contagion. Why? What's so threatening about the possibility that we are the product of deliberate design? If you've ever wondered why ancient myths around the world are eerily similar, from the Nephilim of the Bible to the sky gods of the Dogon tribe, stay with this channel. And while you're here, check out the other stories we've explored, and consider joining Celestial Chronicles for more journeys into the forgotten corridors of our path. What makes the Anunnaki theory so compelling isn't just the Sumerian tablets. It's the global repetition of similar themes. In the Hebrew Bible, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. In Greek mythology, gods come down to mate with mortals, producing demigods like Hercules. In Hindu texts, the Devas and Asuras wage cosmic wars using what sound like futuristic weapons, flying machines called Vimanas, and weapons resembling nuclear blasts. The Dogon tribe in Mali, Africa, claimed that beings from the Sirius star system visited their ancestors, imparting astronomical knowledge they should have had no access to. The Hopi speak of the Ketchinas, star beings who guided their people. These stories are not carbon copies, but thematic echoes. Different names, different landscapes, same motifs. Could this be cultural diffusion or a shared ancestral memory of actual events? Were these gods merely advanced beings mistaken for divine? He believed humanity had a forgotten past, deliberately forgotten by those in power. And whether or not you accept his translations, the pattern is undeniable. And if the pattern is real, what does it mean about our identity? What makes the Anunnaki theory so compelling isn't just the Sumerian tablets. It's the global repetition of similar themes. In the Hebrew Bible, the Nephilim are described as the offspring of the sons of God and the daughters of men. In Greek mythology, gods come down to mate with mortals, producing demigods like Hercules. In Hindu texts, the Devas and Asuras wage cosmic wars using what sound like futuristic weapons, flying machines called Vimanas, and weapons resembling nuclear blasts. The Dogon tribe in Mali, Africa, claimed that beings from the Sirius star system visited their ancestors, imparting astronomical knowledge they should have had no access to. The Hopi speak of the Ketchinas, star beings who guided their people. These stories are not carbon copies, but thematic echoes. Different names, different landscapes, same motifs. Could this be cultural diffusion or a shared ancestral memory of actual events? Were these gods merely advanced beings mistaken for divine? He believed humanity had a forgotten past, deliberately forgotten by those in power. And whether or not you accept his translations, the pattern is undeniable. And if the pattern is real, what does it mean about our identity? As stories spread, their meanings often shift. Words are lost, contexts are ignored, and metaphors become literal. Could this have happened with the story of the Anunnaki? Some scholars believe that ancient religious laws were never meant to be rigid dietary or social codes, but spiritual parables. Over time, these stories were codified, literalized, and enforced, and in that process, their original messages may have been lost. Take the Prophet Muhammad, for example. The Quran forbids pork in several verses. But could that prohibition have originated from earlier symbolic laws misunderstood over centuries? Did oral traditions pass on a corrupted understanding of ancient parable? The speaker suggests that Muhammad may have inherited these teachings through intermediaries, and that the symbolism was flattened into law. He doesn't argue this to discredit Islam, but to show how spiritual truths may have been buried beneath literalism. This isn't unique to Islam. Christianity also took symbolic teachings and institutionalized them. Judaism, too, built extensive laws around the Torah's initial instructions. In every case, there's a tension between the spiritual essence of a law and its ritual expression. So the question becomes, what if the original stories about the gods, the creation of humans, and the laws of purity were never meant to be religious doctrines, but guides to help us understand who we are and what we're capable of? How do we retrieve the truth if the trail is thousands of years old and intentionally obscure? Let's talk about something seemingly unrelated. Pork. Yes, the humble pig, rejected by Jewish law, banned in Islam, and debated in Christianity. But beneath the surface of these prohibitions lies a deeper spiritual metaphor, one that may tie into our origin story. In Leviticus 11, the Israelites are told not to eat pork because although the pig has a split hoof, it does not chew the cud. On the surface, this seems like a basic dietary law. But symbolically, it represents something else. Ancient commentators suggest the pig, with its outward signs of cleanness, split hoof, but inward impurity, not chewing cud, symbolizes hypocrisy. Those who appear righteous but are inwardly corrupt. Could this be a metaphor for humans with a dual nature, those with a divine spark but a base origin? In Christianity, Jesus declared all foods clean, Mark 7, shifting the focus from ritual purity to spiritual intention. But the metaphor remained. The pig still carried symbolic weight. It represented indulgence, materialism, and resistance to transformation. Everything that stands in the way of spiritual growth. The speaker in the video we referenced argues that the pig reflects a person unwilling to evolve. A being who thrives in filth and rejects cleansing. Could this symbolism reflect not just individual morality, but humanity's collective condition? A species born to serve but given the potential to rise, and if so, why do so many religious traditions warn about mixing the spiritual and the worldly? Were they warning us not to forget our higher origin? Now chat, what do you believe the pig really symbolizes in sacred? The city-states of ancient Sumer, Uruk, Eridu, flourished over 5,000 years ago in what is today southern Iraq. Their civilization appeared almost overnight in archaeological terms, bringing writing, mathematics, astronomy, and monumental architecture. According to mainstream scholars, this happened due to environmental advantage and gradual development. But the Sumerians themselves offered a different explanation. They said they were taught. Their records describe the Anunnaki, those who came down from the heavens, as beings who descended from a planet called Nibiru. This mysterious celestial body supposedly had an elongated orbit and entered Earth's vicinity only every 3,600 years. While modern astronomy finds no evidence for such a planet, the concept of Nibiru refuses to vanish. Why? Because its influence continues to be found in ancient texts, artifacts, and oral tradition. These Anunnaki were led by figures like Anu, the Sky Father, Enlil, the god of air and command, and Enki, the god of water and wisdom. They are not described as omnipotent creators, but as advanced beings with technology far beyond human capability. According to the Atrahasis epic, these beings grew tired of mining Earth for resources, particularly gold, which they allegedly needed to stabilize their planet's atmosphere. Their solution? Create a worker species, humans. Enki is said to have mixed his own essence with a being of Earth, not clay as we imagine it, but something more symbolic. Were these the early hybrids? Why are similar tales repeated in Mesopotamia, Mesoamerica, Africa, and even Polynesia? Could all of this point to an ancient truth obscured by time and tradition?